In this lesson we're going to look at how to change very small numbers into scientific notation. It's not just for very large numbers. Now, why might you want to change very small numbers? Well, they can appear very large as well if you're talking about the size, for example, of an atomic nucleus, an atomic reaction, the size of a hydrogen atom, the diameter of it. The size of computer components can be extremely small. Science, you might be talking about wavelengths of light, things like this. They can generate extremely small numbers. I looked up the diameter of a hydrogen atom online and it came up with this, 0.0000000005 meters. Again, that would be very clumsy to write that down in calculations. And the size of an atomic nucleus, this ridiculous number here, 0.0000000000000071 meters. I'm tired after even seeing that number. Right, so we need a better way of writing these numbers, and we can use scientific notation to do it. So let's have a look at how this is done. So the starting point is really this bit up here. We can, in mathematics, we can write 1 over 10 as a power. And the way we do this is, if you go with me on this, we can get everything else from it. 1 over 10 is written as 10 to the power negative 1. So in the same way, we can write 1 over 100 as 1 over 10 times 10, which can be written as 10 to the negative 2. So really what's happening here is we're dividing. If you want to divide by 10, you can write it as 10 to the negative 1. If you want to divide by 100, I'd find a hundredth of something, write it as 10 to the negative 2. If you want to divide by 1000, you can write it as 1 over 10 times 10 times 10, and that's 10 to the negative 3. And if you want to divide by 10,000, so on, it's 1 over 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, and that's 10 to the negative 4. Right, let's have a look at how this works then. If we're writing a really small number, then we'll be using 0 point values. So 0.03 can be written the same as 3 divided by 100. Remember, 3 divided by 100 is like this, 3, and then you move the decimal point 1 twice backwards, and you get 0.03. So how do we write 3 divided by 100? Well, you can write it as 3 times 10 to the negative 2, because that's the same as 1 over 10 squared, or 1 over 100. Same idea with the 4, or the 0.004, that's the same as 4 divided by 1000. If you think about the decimal point being here and moving back 1, 2, 3 places, that is exactly the same as dividing by 1000. Or another way to look at it is 4 times 10 to the negative 3. Okay, we've got 7 divided by, so if you think of the decimal point here, you're going to have 7 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's going to be 7 divided by 10,000, isn't it? It's the same as writing 7 times 10 to the negative 1, 2, 3, 4, because there's 4 zeros on there. So you can see the same things happening here. We're using a digit between 1 and 10, we're using a times and a 10 to the power of, but this time we've got a negative value, because the decimal point's really moving in the opposite direction because we're dividing. Okay, last two here, we've got 9 divided by, and if I look here, I can see that the decimal point needs to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, so that's going to have 5 zeros on the end. So 9 divided by 100,000, or 9 times 10 to the negative 5. And last one, this is the same as 2 divided by 1 million, which is the same as 2 times 10 to the negative 6.